My dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to all the amazing women out there, the dreamers, the doers, the nurturers, and the warriors. You see, confidence is not something you buy, it's something you build day by day, habit by habit. As Gaur Gopal thus beautifully says, your habits define your happiness, and your happiness defines your confidence. So today, let's explore 5 powerful habits that can help every woman lead a life filled with confidence, grace, and purpose. The way you speak to yourself shapes the way you experience your entire life. Every thought, every internal dialogue, every small sentence you whisper in your mind holds immense power. Most people spend their lives seeking validation from others, praise, approval, or appreciation, but often forget that the most important voice they will ever hear is their own. When you speak to yourself with kindness, compassion, and encouragement, you begin to unlock a level of confidence that no external validation can ever provide. You stop waiting for others to tell you who you are because you already know it within your heart. Every woman at some point has faced moments of doubt. Maybe it was standing in front of the mirror before a big presentation, questioning if she was good enough. Maybe it was scrolling through social media, comparing her journey to someone else's perfectly curated life. Or maybe it was hearing that inner voice that whispered, "You can't do this." That voice of self-doubt is not the truth. It's fear disguised as logic. It's the accumulation of years of comparison, criticism, and conditioning. But here's the beautiful thing. You have the power to change that voice. You can train your mind to become your greatest supporter rather than your harshest critic. Speaking kindly to yourself is not arrogance, it is self-respect. It is not about denying your flaws or pretending everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging that you are a work in progress, deserving of patience and understanding. When you make a mistake, you can either choose to attack yourself or learn from it with compassion. Imagine talking to a friend who is struggling. You wouldn't tell her she's a failure or that she'll never succeed. You'd encourage her, remind her of her strengths, and tell her to keep going. Why not offer yourself the same grace? Confidence grows in the soil of self-kindness, not in the harsh terrain of self-criticism. Words are powerful tools. They can build or break, heal or harm, motivate or demoralize. The way you speak to yourself silently directs the choices you make, the risks you take, and the life you create. When your inner language is full of doubt, I can't, I'm not enough, what if I fail? You unconsciously limit your potential. But when you shift your inner dialogue to empowering phrases like, I'll figure it out, I'm improving every day, or I have what it takes, you open doors that once seemed impossible. The difference between fear and confidence often lies in a few simple words you repeat to yourself. Self-talk is a habit, and like any habit, it can be transformed through awareness and repetition. Start by noticing the tone of your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself saying something negative, pause and reframe it. If you say, I'm not good enough for this, shift it to, I'm learning, and every experience makes me stronger. Over time, this rewiring changes not only how you think, but how you feel. You start showing up differently, more grounded, more assured, more at peace with who you are. This kind of inner kindness doesn't just boost confidence. It radiates outward. People can sense when someone believes in themselves. It shows in the way you walk, the way you speak, and the energy you bring into a room. Confidence is not about shouting your worth to the world. It's about quietly knowing it. It's about carrying an inner calm that says, I am enough, just as I am, and I am capable of becoming even better. So, speak to yourself as you would to someone you deeply care about. Speak words that uplift, empower, and inspire. Because the truth is, you become what you tell yourself you are. And when your self-talk becomes filled with encouragement, belief, and gratitude, you begin to move through life not just with confidence, but with peace, strength, and purpose. Perfection is a mirage that keeps moving the closer you get to it. It's that invisible standard society has built around us: flawless appearance, perfect careers, impeccable homes, and unshakable composure. But the truth is, perfection doesn't exist, and chasing it only robs us of joy. Every woman, whether she's a student, a professional, a mother, or a leader, feels the pressure to meet unrealistic expectations. Yet, the women who truly thrive are not those who chase perfection. They are the ones who embrace growth. They understand that life is not about being flawless. It's about being fearless enough to learn, evolve, and rise after every fall. Perfectionism often hides behind noble intentions. You tell yourself you just want to do your best, but somewhere along the way, doing your best turns into never feeling good enough. You hesitate to take chances because you fear failure. You overthink, overprepare, and overstress. You wait for the right moment, the perfect plan, or the ideal version of yourself before you begin. But that moment never truly comes, because perfection is not a destination, it's a delay. It keeps you trapped in hesitation, while growth invites you into action. The women who lead with confidence are not those who never fail. They are those who refuse to let failure define them. When you focus on growth, you give yourself permission to be human. You allow yourself to make mistakes, to experiment, and to improve. Every mistake becomes a teacher, every setback a lesson, and every challenge a stepping stone. Growth means saying, I may not be there yet, but I'm getting better. It shifts your energy from self-judgment to self-compassion. And that shift changes everything: your attitude, your performance, your relationships, and your sense of inner peace. There's something incredibly freeing about letting go of perfection. You no longer feel the need to constantly prove yourself. Instead, you start appreciating how far you've come. You recognize that the process matters more than the outcome. A confident woman doesn't walk around pretending to have it all together. She walks with grace, knowing she's always learning. Her confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from knowing she can grow through anything. Growth-oriented living is not about rushing through life or collecting achievements. It's about being curious, open-minded, and willing to evolve. When you adopt a growth mindset, obstacles no longer intimidate you. They inspire you. Criticism doesn't crush you, it teaches you. You start asking better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I improve? What is this challenge trying to teach me? This mindset transforms pressure into purpose. It allows you to see failure not as a full stop, but as a comma in the story of your life. Many women fall into the trap of comparison, constantly measuring their progress against others. But comparison is the thief of growth. Everyone's journey unfolds differently. The person you should be competing with is not another woman. It's the version of yourself from yesterday. Every small improvement, every moment of courage, every lesson learned counts. When you focus on your own growth, confidence becomes natural because you're not chasing anyone else's timeline. You're living your own. The beauty of growth is that it celebrates progress over perfection. It reminds you that confidence doesn't come from always getting things right. It comes from showing up even when things go wrong. Growth teaches resilience, patience, and humility. It teaches you that setbacks are not signs of weakness, but opportunities for strength. The flower doesn't bloom by comparing itself to the one beside it. It blooms by embracing its own season. So embrace the journey. Allow yourself to be imperfectly amazing, courageously vulnerable, and endlessly evolving. You don't need to be perfect to be confident. You just need to be willing to keep growing. Because the woman who learns from every experience becomes unstoppable. Not because she never falls, but because she always rises a little stronger each time. The environment you choose to keep is one of the most powerful forces shaping your confidence. Every conversation, every relationship, and every circle you spend time in leaves a mark on your mindset. Confidence doesn't grow in toxic soil. It flourishes in the company of positive, uplifting, and supportive people. When you surround yourself with individuals who believe in you, challenge you, and celebrate your growth, you begin to rise naturally. But when you allow yourself to stay around negativity, constant criticism, and energy-draining environments, your spirit slowly dims. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect. It is understanding that your peace is precious and your time is sacred. Every woman has a unique journey, a personal rhythm that defines her growth. But the truth is, no matter how strong, intelligent, or independent you are, the energy around you can either strengthen your wings or make you doubt your ability to fly. The people closest to you influence your thoughts, decisions, and emotions far more than you might realize. When you spend time with those who constantly complain, gossip, or discourage ambition, their negativity seeps into your own mindset. On the other hand, when you connect with people who dream big, speak kindly, and believe in possibilities, your spirit feels lighter and your confidence grows effortlessly. Positivity is contagious, just like negativity. When you surround yourself with people who look for solutions instead of problems, you start adopting the same attitude. When your friends talk about growth, gratitude, and goals, you begin to think that way too. Your conversations start to shift from "I can't" to "how can I?" The company you keep doesn't just reflect who you are, it shapes who you become. That's why choosing the right circle is not just about friendship, it's about your personal evolution. There will always be people who misunderstand your dreams or feel threatened by your light. They may try to belittle your efforts, make fun of your aspirations, or fill your mind with doubt. In those moments, remember that you don't owe anyone the right to drain your energy. Protect your peace fiercely. Walk away from negativity without guilt. It's not your job to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Confidence thrives in spaces where authenticity is welcomed, not where it is questioned. Protecting your energy also means being mindful of what you consume mentally. The media you follow, the content you engage with, and the conversations you entertain all influence your emotional well-being. Choose to fill your mind with inspiration, books that uplift you, podcasts that educate you, and discussions that make you think deeply. Feed your soul with wisdom and positivity, and you'll notice how naturally confidence becomes part of your personality. When your inner world is nourished, your outer world reflects it beautifully. Sometimes, protecting your energy means making difficult choices. You might have to distance yourself from certain friendships, family patterns, or professional circles that no longer serve your growth. It's never easy to let go, but it's far more painful to stay in spaces that make you doubt your worth. True confidence comes when you stop seeking approval from people who don't understand your vision and start walking with those who remind you of your power. Remember that energy is reciprocal. Just as you deserve uplifting company, strive to be that source of positivity for others too. Encourage, appreciate, and celebrate the people around you. When you share good energy, it multiplies and comes back to you in unexpected ways. Confidence is built not just by being surrounded by positivity, but by contributing to it. Protecting your energy doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means being intentional. It's about creating boundaries that allow your spirit to breathe. When your circle is full of positive, supportive people, you begin to see yourself through their eyes, with belief, admiration, and faith. The right environment reminds you that you are capable, deserving, and unstoppable. That is where true confidence begins, not in isolation, but in the warmth of the right company. Confidence begins from within. It is not something you put on like makeup or display like an achievement. It grows quietly from the depths of your inner world. When your mind is restless, your confidence becomes shaky. When your heart is unsettled, even small challenges feel overwhelming. But when your inner world is calm, centered, and nourished, you exude a sense of quiet strength that no external circumstance can take away. Taking care of your inner world is not a luxury. It is a necessity for living a confident, balanced, and meaningful life. In the fast-paced rhythm of modern life, it's easy to get caught up in noise. The constant demands, notifications, opinions, and comparisons that bombard you every day. Without realizing it, you start living outwardly, responding to everything around you while neglecting what's happening inside. The result is emotional exhaustion, anxiety, and self-doubt. That is why it's essential to pause and reconnect with yourself. Spend time in silence, away from distractions, and listen to your own thoughts. Meditation, prayer, journaling, or even a quiet walk in nature can help you return to that place of inner peace where true confidence resides. When you nurture your inner world, you begin to understand yourself better, your values, your strengths, your fears, and your desires. This self-awareness becomes the foundation of confidence. You stop trying to fit into someone else's definition of success and start creating your own. You learn to make decisions based on clarity rather than confusion, and you stop allowing external opinions to dictate your worth. A calm mind gives you perspective, and that perspective is what allows you to respond with grace instead of reacting with insecurity. Confidence is not about having control over everything around you. It's about having control over how you respond to it. When your inner world is peaceful, you handle challenges differently. A setback doesn't destroy you, it teaches you. Criticism doesn't discourage you, it refines you. Rejection doesn't define you, it redirects you. This kind of emotional stability can only come from within. The more time you invest in grounding yourself mentally and emotionally, the stronger and more confident you become in the face of uncertainty. Taking care of your inner world also means managing your thoughts with awareness. The mind can be a beautiful servant or a dangerous master. Negative thinking, constant worry, and overanalysis can drain your energy and diminish your confidence. You cannot stop negative thoughts from appearing, but you can choose not to entertain them. Replace them with gratitude, affirmation, and faith. Start your mornings with positive reflection and end your nights with a sense of peace. The discipline of maintaining a healthy inner dialogue shapes your mindset and helps you carry yourself with quiet assurance. Equally important is emotional self-care, allowing yourself to feel, to process, and to release. Confidence doesn't mean pretending you are always okay. It means having the courage to sit with your emotions without being consumed by them. Cry if you need to, reflect if you must, but then rise again with greater clarity. Every emotion you acknowledge becomes energy transformed rather than energy suppressed. The more emotionally balanced you are, the more naturally confident you become. Spiritual well-being also plays a profound role in nurturing inner confidence. Whether through faith, meditation, or connection with nature, feeling part of something greater than yourself brings peace to the soul. It reminds you that you are guided, protected, and supported, even when life feels uncertain. When you operate from this place of spiritual strength, you stop chasing validation from the world. You begin to trust the process, believe in timing, and move with quiet faith instead of fear. When your inner world is aligned, your outer world begins to reflect that harmony. Your tone becomes calmer, your decisions wiser, and your presence more grounded. People naturally gravitate toward those who carry peace within them. Confidence is not loud or showy, it's serene and steady. It's the ability to walk through chaos with calm, to face challenges with faith, and to speak with authenticity rather than ego. Taking care of your inner world gives you that power. The power to live with confidence that is not borrowed from the outside, but built from within. One of the most powerful yet often overlooked ways to build confidence is to celebrate yourself. Too often, people wait for major achievements, promotions, or public recognition before they feel worthy of pride. But true confidence is built in the small, quiet victories that no one else sees. The mornings you get out of bed despite feeling exhausted, the moments you stay calm when it would have been easier to break down, the courage to try again after failing. Every time you acknowledge your own effort, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, resilient, and progressing. Celebration is not about arrogance or ego, it is about self-respect. It's the conscious act of honoring the journey you're on and recognizing that even the smallest step forward deserves gratitude. Many women tend to downplay their achievements. They dismiss compliments, brush off praise, and move on quickly to the next task without stopping to appreciate how far they've come. This constant striving creates an illusion that nothing is ever enough. But confidence doesn't come from doing more. It comes from appreciating what you have already done. When you take the time to pause and celebrate your milestones, you tell your mind that progress is happening, that your efforts matter, and that you are moving in the right direction. It transforms pressure into pride and comparison into contentment. Celebrating yourself doesn't always mean grand gestures. It can be as simple as journaling about what went well during the day, treating yourself to a quiet evening, or expressing gratitude for the growth you've achieved. What matters is not the size of the celebration, but the sincerity behind it. When you make a habit of acknowledging small wins, you begin to train your brain to focus on progress rather than perfection. You start noticing the good instead of fixating on what's missing. Over time, this shift rewires your mindset, making confidence your natural state rather than something you chase. Confidence grows stronger when you become your own source of encouragement. Waiting for others to recognize your worth leaves you dependent on external validation, which can easily disappear. But when you learn to clap for yourself, you build a foundation that no one else can shake. You become self-sufficient in your motivation. You don't need constant approval because you already know your value. This kind of inner celebration fuels perseverance. It reminds you that you're not defined by failures or setbacks, but by the courage to keep showing up. Every success, no matter how small, tells a story of effort and persistence. Think about the last time you overcame something difficult. Perhaps you handled a tough conversation with maturity, balanced multiple responsibilities, or simply kept going when life felt heavy. Those moments deserve recognition. They prove that you are stronger than you think and capable of far more than you give yourself credit for. When you learn to see your life through this lens of appreciation, confidence becomes an ongoing experience rather than a fleeting emotion. Another beautiful part of celebrating yourself is that it teaches gratitude. When you appreciate your own journey, you start seeing blessings in the challenges, lessons in the failures, and beauty in the imperfections. Gratitude shifts your energy from scarcity to abundance. Instead of thinking about what's missing, you begin to value what's present. This emotional shift not only makes you more confident, but also more grounded and joyful. Gratitude turns ordinary moments into reminders of growth. And when you live with that awareness, confidence naturally radiates from within. Celebrating yourself also sets a powerful example for others. When people see a woman who acknowledges her own growth without arrogance, they feel inspired to do the same. It creates a ripple effect of positivity and self-belief. You never know who might be watching you rise and gaining the courage to rise too. Confidence, after all, is not just about standing tall, it's about lifting others through your own light. Each day brings an opportunity to recognize something good about yourself. A choice you made, an effort you gave, or a step you took toward becoming a better version of who you were yesterday. When you celebrate these moments with sincerity and gratitude, you begin to live with an unwavering belief in your worth. You realize that confidence is not a reward waiting at the finish line. It's something you cultivate along the way, one celebration at a time. True confidence is not measured by how much attention you receive, but by how much value you give. The most confident women are not the ones who walk into a room demanding recognition. They are the ones whose presence inspires others to stand taller. Serving and uplifting others doesn't diminish your strength, it magnifies it. When you focus on helping people grow, sharing what you've learned and spreading kindness wherever you go, you cultivate a deep sense of purpose that strengthens your confidence from within. Because when you lift others, you remind yourself that you have something valuable to offer the world. Every person carries within them a light, a combination of experiences, lessons, and wisdom that can guide others. But often, people underestimate the impact of their own stories. They assume that to inspire others, they must first achieve something extraordinary. The truth is, inspiration doesn't always come from perfection, it comes from authenticity. When you share your journey, the struggles, the doubts, the lessons learned, you connect with others on a human level. You show them that growth is possible, that courage exists in imperfection, and that hope is never out of reach. This act of serving through authenticity builds an inner confidence that no external success can replace. Helping others does not mean losing yourself in constant giving or neglecting your own needs. It means using your strengths to contribute meaningfully, whether through a kind word, a small act of generosity, or mentorship. Each time you make someone's path a little brighter, your own sense of fulfillment deepens. You start seeing yourself not as someone who needs validation, but as someone who creates impact. That shift from self-centeredness to service-centeredness expands your confidence because it aligns you with something greater than yourself. You move from asking, "Am I good enough?" to saying, "How can I make a difference?" When you empower others, you indirectly reinforce your own self-belief. Encouraging someone else to keep going reminds you of your own resilience. Offering advice or comfort to someone in pain helps you reconnect with your own strength. Serving others becomes a mirror that reflects your inner worth back to you. The energy you give returns in the form of gratitude, respect, and a sense of accomplishment that strengthens your self-assurance. Confidence built through service is humble yet powerful because it comes from genuine human connection, not from comparison or competition. In a world that often glorifies individual success, it takes courage to focus on collective growth. But true leadership and true confidence emerges from contribution. When you support another woman in her goals, instead of competing with her, you elevate both of you. When you choose to inspire rather than impress, you create an environment where everyone can rise. The beauty of serving others is that it creates a continuous cycle of growth. As you help others believe in themselves, you start believing in yourself even more deeply. Confidence rooted in compassion carries a quiet strength. It doesn't need to shout or seek attention. It simply shines through consistent kindness. The woman who helps others climb, who listens without judgment, who encourages with sincerity, leaves a lasting impact that no title or status can replace. Her confidence is not fragile because it's not built on appearance or applause. It's built on contribution. She knows that when she makes others feel seen and valued, she adds meaning to her own life as well. Every act of service, no matter how small, has a ripple effect. A simple gesture of encouragement might ignite someone's courage to chase a dream. A moment of empathy might remind someone they're not alone. A word of wisdom might change the direction of someone's life. When you realize that your existence can bring light to others, confidence ceases to be a question of ability. It becomes a matter of purpose. The more you serve, the more you grow, and the more you grow, the more unshakable your confidence becomes. To live a confident life is to understand that power doesn't come from being above others, but from walking beside them, lifting them as you climb. The strength of a woman who inspires others lies not in her perfection, but in her compassion, her resilience, and her willingness to share her light. The more you give, the more you shine. And that is the truest expression of confidence. So, my dear friends, confidence is not a gift you're born with. It's a garden you nurture every day. When you speak kindly to yourself, embrace growth, choose positive company, care for your inner peace, and celebrate your journey, you don't just live confidently, you radiate confidence. Remember, a confident woman doesn't need to prove she is powerful. Her calm, her kindness, and her consistency speak louder than words. So, to every woman listening, rise up, build these habits, and walk into every room knowing that you are not just enough, you are extraordinary. Thank you.